Counter-Strike cases are surging right now. The Fracture case, which was previously at 75 cents for months and months at a time, has just crossed $1 on the Steam community market. And people, rightfully so, case investors, holders, are hyped. But I think that's rather misinformed. Not because cases are bad, right? Case prices are surging and there are real reasons underlying the movement, but not all cases are created equal. And if you're looking to buy some right now, or if you have some and are figuring out when you should sell or if you should sell, there's a few different pieces of criteria you should be looking at before you make that decision. Some actually deserve this price movement and some do not whatsoever. And by the end of the video, you'll be able to figure that out for yourself, not only for the cases I talk about, but the ones that I don't touch on, you could be able to do and apply that framework yourself. Let's get into it. Now first, let's get into the underlying reasoning behind why these cases are moving so much. One reason, undoubtedly, but probably lesser so, is of course the new update regarding Steam listings, right? As we know, you can now list items and also use them, which means that you can no longer use the Steam community market as a storage unit, right? Even though there was a listing limit, it's now much harder to balance your inventory when you have incoming items, when you have items you use in game, and when you have all of these listings that you want to sell. So now I think you have a shift in behavior, no matter how small or how big it may be, but it is absolutely present, in which people are, foregoing listing their items, maybe less so cases, but more so lower tier items as well, which means subsequently less listings, and thus that 3-cent price floor, I think, is going to be hit a lot less for a lot of different items, capsules, stickers, whatever it may be, in due time, and I think we're starting to see some of the effects of that. While most skins don't hit that price floor all too often, the fact that there's going to be less listings is going to increase some pricing, right? Like field tested blues from a case, right? They may go from like 5 cents to 8 cents, right? Nothing crazy, but that does increase case ROI, which does drive case price upwards to match. The second layer is sentiment, how the market feels about cases right now, right? We are still in limbo, and I think the timing of it is no coincidence, and that's because of the armory. Fever was added now at this point over a year ago, March 31st, 2025. Up until that point in CS2, we were receiving a case every 6 months. We have been receiving skins every 6 months since then, but they have been in the form of terminals, which seem to mimic, and until we get confirmation, these are the replacements for cases. A lot of people think, and I think it is reasonable, that cases do remain in the game in the form of being offered in the armory, but we don't know yet, because we did not get confirmation yet in terms of an armory update. I think that caused a little bit of panic. The community is conditioned to updates every 6 months, and since we were expecting one on April 1st or in that time span, and we haven't gotten one thus far, I think people are a little bit nervous, and when people are nervous, people buy and sell irrationally. There's an absolutely non-zero chance that Fever is the last case added into the game, and Valve's cold feet, it seems like, in terms of the armory rotation, is making people, I think, panic a little bit, so I think that also plays a role. And the last part, and I think the part that is not the most obvious, in July 2025, if you were here, the trade reversion update changed fundamentally how cases and trade-up items move within the ecosystem. Previously, cases were pretty much exclusively traded on third-party marketplaces. It simply made no sense to buy off the Steam community market. Case prices were much higher. All you had to do is go on float and you can get a case for 20-30 cents cheaper. Steam changed that with the trade reversion update. With the trade reversion update meant that if you bought a case off of a third-party marketplace, you would have to wait for that window to end, meaning if you bought a case, you were only eligible to open it 7 to 8 days later. Now, why is that a huge shot in the foot for third parties and a huge gain for Steam's market share in terms of daily transactions? Well, that's because cases and opening them are inherently impulsive. If I buy a trade-up filler or I buy a case, do you think I'm gonna wait 8 fucking days to open it? No. I want to open it right now. So that one move alone added so much transaction volume to Steam that these case prices that are happening right now in these surges, they're the dictator of pricing. Third-party marketplaces will rise in proportion to match Steam's new price discovery level whenever these cases decide to stop surging. If listings are drained on Steam Community Market, and now you can't list as many items as you want to on Steam Community Market, well, these things are all going to converge. It's going to make for a harder landscape in which to sell cases if you are a case seller. So you have all these things coming together, then you have a surge in buying, and thus people panic, and thus people buy more with the surge, causing this insane price movement. But while everyone's panicking, this is usually when people get fucked sideways. So take a deep breath if you're watching this. You have plenty of time. Don't worry. There's fucking billions of cases. They ain't going anywhere anytime soon. Wait for some level of calmness to take back over and make smart decisions. And with that, let's go over the framework in which to beat the panic and completely subside it and profit from these case movements. Right, all it has to do with is ROI, EV, and finding its equilibrium. Right, all of these cases are surging right now, but this one case, everything in it, all the blues and purples are 3 to 10 cents each. Right, who's gonna open those cases? Nobody, because he's basically expecting to just lose money. So after the surge, what you're gonna have is nobody opening it, meaning listings are only gonna go up, which drive prices down. But on the bright side, while no one's opening it, the actual skins inside, there's not gonna be as many listings, which means that that price floor will get eaten up, start to drift back upwards, right? It's very cyclic, but right now, in the current state, no one's gonna open it, so buying this case right now doesn't really make too much sense. And now flip it. What if a case is very cheap compared to the items within it, right? What if a lot of the skins are $1, $2, $3, right? You can expect some level of return. So maybe that case moving upwards in price is actually sensical because if the ROI is good, then people are going to open more of them. People open more of them. People buy more of them. People buy more of them. Less listings, price goes up. And much like the previous example, cyclic. Because if more people are opening them, then more skin listings are hitting the market. Skin listings hitting the market drives prices of the skins down, which reduces the need to open those cases as much, and then it finds its equilibrium point somewhere down the road. People also tend to look at supply, but supply is more nuanced than what people give it credit for. Supply of the case matters, sure, absolutely, but so does velocity of the supply, right? If there's 10 weapon case ones left and they're all $100,000 each, is it necessarily a great investment? Probably not. You missed the run-up. If no one's opening them, or all the skins within it maintain a very low price compared to the actual case price itself, who the fuck's gonna open it? And if no one's opening them, who's gonna buy them? So your investment that you just purchased this case at, it's not really gonna move too much in price. It may not go down, but it's not gonna go up either. Prices of the cases are not gonna move unless the skins themselves move within it. And the last thing, the golds, right? The knife trade-up update made basically every skin within every case more valuable because there's a direct chain to knives and gloves. So you have that adding ROI to each case, which should increase case price over time. And while the knives and gloves brought down the ROI because of the decrease in price from the trade-up update, their percentage chance of hitting in a case is so small that pretty much every case's ROI went up, but disproportionately depending on whether there's knives and or depending on whether there's gloves within that case. And if you want to find those skins at rates cheaper than any other marketplace in the West, try out UU Skins, today's sponsor. UU Skins is a marketplace that offers direct access to Chinese sellers in the West without the need of a VPN or a middleman. The inventory is absolutely massive, meaning you can find sticker crafts, rare patterns, charms, anything you want, UU Skins has got it. They've also added the new Happy Shop feature, which allows you to redeem points daily by completing tasks, inviting friends, or just the daily faucet that's available. If you're serious about turning a profit in this market, then you need to be using UU Skins. QR code is on the screen. What are you waiting for? And now we get into the actual specifics. We'll start off with the active cases because they're a little bit of a different case than all of the other cases. No pun intended. The best active case right now has got to be Revolution. Now, Dreams and Nightmares, Kilowatt both have knives. That pretty much hurts ROI in every sense of the word. And that's because gloves have a 0.06 to 0.8 universal float cap no matter what glove you have. That is the range in which all gloves carry. Knives do not share this attribute, and it hurts knife ROI. Why? What are the most sought after knives within the game? Fade, Doppler, Marble Fade, Tiger Tooth. These all carry a 0 to 0.08 float cap, meaning that 98% on average of Dopplers, Marble Fades, etc. are going to be factory new. This creates for relative oversupply in these specific knife finishes, meaning that the price actually drives down over time compared to a glove in which a factory new pair of gloves is so few and far between that the actual ROI on gloves, even after the knife glove trade-up update, has been disproportionately affected compared to knives. And because of that, all of the reds, pinks, purples in knife cases, while they have gone up in price, they're pretty much proportional in price now, right? Battle-scarred, well-worn, field-tested reds, they're all pretty much the same price. But in a glove case, there is some differences, right? Ultra-low float factory new reds within glove cases are going to command so much more because factory new gloves did not get hurt and thus are more expensive proportional to where they were 10 months ago. On top of this, even though recoil just got removed, it has 3 cases in which offer the Generation 3 gloves. Revolution, on the other hand, only has 2 cases, itself and Clutch, that offer Generation 2, which has better prospects for supply of these gloves on top of the fact that trading up to them is harder than knives. Knife cases need individual aesthetic demand for the skins within it to carry that same EV. Glove cases don't need to have that luxury. Revolution has structural EV built into it by the knife trade up update, and it probably won't be the next case removed. So that only gives you more time to accumulate this one, making it one of the better plays within the market currently. Now we get into the discontinued cases. As we know, in December 2025, all rare drop pool cases were removed, making them ineligible to be dropped on your weekly drop, making most cases within the game discontinued. Now it does get interesting because for the past 12 years or so, all of the cases were dropping in the rare pool, meaning that supplies are different and the landscape is completely changed. We're going to start with an overvalued one here, and it's definitely going to be Fracture, right? Fracture saw a massive surge in the last week, hitting over $1 on the Steam community market, and structurally, it does not make sense. As far as I'm aware, Fracture spent the most time in the active drop pool, meaning that it had a 20% chance of being dropped to you every single week for, I believe, over 5 years. And this was not during a time in which there was no players playing. This is when Counter-Strike was, very, very popular. Therefore, there is no shortage whatsoever of these cases, and thus also no shortage of any of the skins within this case either. Combine this with the fact that the AK Legion of Anubis is in the case, which is not one of the most popular AKs by any stretch of the word, and the knives offered are not very popular, especially with the Fever case being added last year. The pretty much only saving grace of this case is the Desert Eagle print stream, but one skin is not going to justify this price movement. I expect this one to move downwards. Gamma and Spectrum share a little bit of a similar climate, but they do have better knife offerings. The Gamma knife has the OG knives and Gamma collections, meaning the M9 Emerald and the Karambit Emerald, and although while the skins within it are not the prettiest and not the most demanded, they now have a floor from the trade-up update, and because they trade up to such high-tier knives, they're going to command a higher price, and thus all the way down the ladder, meaning that the prices of these cases, I think, are still relatively low compared to, the knives that are within it. These will be slow movers for sure, but definitely lower risk. Spectrum follows pretty much the same logic, although replace Karambit Emerald with Butterfly Knife Ruby, and the other offerings for the knives are not as great, but they do have better skins within the cases. Therefore, it kind of balances out, kind of makes me put them two together always, Gamma and Spectrum. Safe, long-term plays. Continuing on the safe topic, I'm going to go with the OG cases, right? Weapon case 1, 2, 3, Winter Offensive, Bravo, etc. Right, first off, knife collection, OG original knives in the original finishes. These will always have demand. Case hardened blue gems, the fact that you can get them makes the ROI extremely, extremely high. The skins within them are so old at this point, they're iconic. The only problem is, the cases are already expensive, therefore openings are not going to occur on a regular basis by the normal casual player. Therefore, it's going to take a long time for price movement to actually, manifest. But you're holding because the scarcity is real. It's like Bitcoin, right? They're not going to go down, but I would not necessarily hold them hoping for a 3x on your initial return. By no means exciting, but by no means stupid either. The sleeper pick, I'll probably have to go with Gallery. Now, Gallery was in the game for 1 year before its removal. This makes the prospects very, very fundamentally good. The only problem was the timing, because about a month later, all cases were discontinued. Simultaneously at that, which completely split attention and just kind of, drifted attention away from Gallery. And while that's absolutely fair, Gallery has much lower supply numbers than all of those simultaneously discontinued collections. A year of being dropped, not even dropped, purchased by way of the armory and then completely disappearing. This one's got to have some of the lowest supply we've seen on par with the Operation cases. The reds are good. M4 Vaporwave, Glock Gold Tooth. It has a purple M4 turbine and it has a pink AK, the Outsiders. So the lineup, pretty stacked. The only thing holding it back, I think, is the Kukri knife, but that shit's sick as hell. People will wake up, I promise. Gallery's fundamentally probably the best play in terms of completeness. While the Kukri holds it back, I don't think it will matter too much in the grand scheme of things, because supply is going to become a factor much quicker than any other case. One similar to Gallery, but a little bit more high risk, I believe, is the CS20 case. Now, this is the only case with the classic knife, and while the classic knife is not the most highly demanded knife by any stretch of the word, if China decides the classic knife to be $6,000, that demand's gonna go up for classic knives, guaranteed. And I only say that because we're seeing early signs of accumulation within the case, so I think you just have to keep your eyes out there and have a watchful eye on it, because that could have some real implications for that case as an entire sector. And those are the cases I looked at in specific, but they really all boils down to one main fundamental point or philosophy regarding the cases. Glove cases are structurally fundamentally better than knife cases. The universal 0.06 to 0.8 float cap on all gloves means factory new skins at every rarity, blue, purple, pink, and red, become more valuable. With them being all more valuable comes increased ROI. With increased ROI comes increased price of the underlying case. Keys stay the same price. They've been $250 for 12 years. They're not changing. The only thing that will change is the case price to match ROI. Knife cases need individually aesthetically pleasing guns to carry that same demand in factory new, something the glove case does not need to do. So glove cases come first without a shadow of a doubt. The next will be but knife cases that have limited opportunities like Chroma 1, 2, and 3, Gamma 1 and 2, Spectrum 1 and 2, etc. Everything else takes a backseat to those. But don't get me wrong, those won't probably go down either, especially when we take into account, as we said, sentiment regarding cases. But that's the framework, and you should use it. If a case jumps up 40% overnight, is it justified in jumping 40% overnight, or is it pure hype, FOMO, and panic? Use that to know when to sell or when to know to hold. If you want to see me open cases, because I don't give a fuck about case investing, I just like opening them, watch me on Twitch, MikeWater9. And with that being said, peace.